Terestina Telemmier, lawyer. It might be the end of planet-side human civilization, but people still needed lawyers. And yes, she'd thrown her lot in with a radical melange of factions who were just about holding the colonies and the Parthenon hostage, but that just meant the lawyering intensified. It was the great truth of law that the more savage things got, the more you needed a lawyer to dig you out. Right now, with everything crashing down and being rebuilt around her, she was actually doing work far closer to her original skill set than in the previous 10 years. Travelling as Idris Telemmier's guardian angel had been civil rights work, and she was rated for that, but she'd trained first with contracts. And contracts were the connective tissue that held the universe together, as far as a lawyer was concerned. It wasn't as if the Eye actually had a superfluity of legally trained personnel either. Or if it did, most of them were part of the Hiver Assembly in aggregate. The human colonial parts of the joint venture needed every legal mind they could get right now, and so she had as much work as she wanted. She and the rest of the legal team had just been on Berlenhof, wrangling with Hugh and a couple of Hanalambra factors about resources, shipping and supply. Because the Eye was an intensive venture, greedy for power, material and personnel. Nobody liked it, but everyone knew they needed it. For now. Or Chris certainly hoped they did. Right now, though, having woken from unspace, and with news of their success already being sent ahead of them, she was looking forward to time with friends, and not having to wrangle legal arguments in her head for at least a couple of days. She was owed that, she reckoned. "What the hell am I looking at?" asked one of the others, a fellow Scintilla graduate named Maxine Dreidel. He was new to the venture, taken on for his understanding of Berlenhof jurisprudence. This was his first time off-planet, as far as she could tell, which meant that Estoc was a particularly unfair place to bring him. It was an isolated system, with only one unspace throughway discovered going to it. Its original masters, still very present, somewhat resentful but playing along for now, had chosen it for that reason and one other. There was a sullen clenched fist of a star, shuddering with internal collapse and emitting staggered gravitational waves that racked its one dead ember of a planet. It was in geostationary orbit around this world that the arcyards had been built, with a vast array of harvesters ready to catch all that free gravitational energy and store it for later use. That was enough to open any ground-bound eye, but as their ship neared, it was a robust old passenger shuttle, more than adequate for lawyer transport. The arcyards themselves demanded everyone's attention. Chris still remembered the first time she'd come here. She'd seen shipyards before, of course, having made that transition from settled to spacer life. Nothing could surprise her anymore. And then, the vulture god had just kept getting closer, and the yards and their ships had kept getting bigger and bigger, even when they'd still been very far away.